Welcome to Morbid Storytime. Tonight's story is about a man named Henry Rice who lived in Rollo, Missouri in the early 1800s. Henry was a slave and he had a family when he was young with a son and also a young wife. And his master treated him so harshly and so terrible that he sold his only son, and he also treated his wife so harshly that it killed her. And Henry was in such desperation. He hated his master and he wanted to get revenge on him. But he was feeling so down and so hopeless, he didn't know what to do. And some of the older slaves, they saw him and they were worried about him, and they came and talked to him. And they said in secrecy, "Henry, there's an old crossroads. And sometimes the devil shows himself there at those crossroads at midnight. If you go to those crossroads and get down on your knees, pray for an old man to come and buy your soul. He'll make a deal with you and he'll give you what you want." Well, Henry had nothing to lose. So he goes to those crossroads at midnight, and he goes for 6 nights and nothing happens. But he's so determined, he goes back a 7th night. And on that 7th night, as he's on his knees praying, he said he saw a devil coming out of the rocks. There was a hole in the rocks and he came out. He was so terrified at the sight of this devil that he couldn't move. He was just frozen with fear. But he said the devil talked to him so nicely that it put him at ease. And he made a deal with him. He said, "If you sell me your soul," he said, "I will give you power over your master and the other slaves and everything that belongs to them. But you have to give me your soul." He agreed. And the devil said, "Henry, I want you to pull your shirt off." So he pulled his shirt off. And the devil took his foot, and he had a cloven hoof for a foot. And he placed it right above Henry's heart, and it burnt an image of that cloven hoof. That was a sign that that deal had been made. Then that devil bent down and he whispered in Henry's ear. He whispered a secret. And that secret was what would give Henry power over his master and the other slaves. And Henry, he lived in a house that was made out of fruit boxes, old fruit boxes and old pieces of wood. But he said that's how he chose to live. He said he had supernatural powers that other men wished that he had. He could have anything he wanted that belonged to the other slaves anytime he wanted. But he chose to live the way he did. And he said once he learned that secret from that devil, he said that's when things started to change. That's when he got power over his master and the other slaves. So things really turned around for him after he made that deal. But he said, "I know when I die, I'm going to a place that's very hot. It burns with fire." But he said, "That is the deal that I made, and I am ready." And I believe Henry is probably down there right now. What do you think?